20, the name that outgrew the car. There was only one real 1967 Shelby GT500 Super Snake, a one-off test car that ran a brutal tire demo and became legend, but the name refused to stay put. Over the years, builders, shops, and fans borrowed Super Snake to describe their own dream versions. That is how we got a whole world of tributes. Some careful, some careless, all chasing the same feeling of wild speed in a streetable shell. The reveal is simple. The label became bigger than the original. Proof lives in classifieds, auction catalogs, and forum signatures where Super Snake appears on cars with very different engines, brakes, and interiors. What matters is why this happened. The name signals purpose. It tells people this build should be outrageous, not polite. Good tributes live up to that promise with honesty about parts and performance. Bad ones hide behind the badge and hope nobody asks questions. If you understand that difference, you already know more than half the market. 19. Stripe math. Most people look at a tribute and think stripes are stripes. But the spacing, width, and font choices whisper the truth. On many clones, the center stripes are a hair too wide, the rocker stripes sit a little low, and the GT500 script is either too bold or too skinny. The reveal is that these tiny mistakes add up on the eye. Your brain cannot name the error, but it feels something off. The proof is in side-by-side photos with a ruler across the hood lines and a type chart for the door script. This matters because a tribute lives or dies on first impression. If the math is wrong, the car looks like a costume. If the math is right, even experts pause and lean in. Stripe accuracy is not about snobbery. It is about respect for design. Get the spacing right and the car reads as purposeful, not cartoonish. That first glance sets the tone for every other judgment you make. 18. The nose tells the truth. Walk around the front of a tribute and focus on the mouth, the grille opening, fog light placement, and the way fiberglass meets steel. The reveal is that many tributes betray themselves here. The opening can be a little wide, the fog lights can sit a bit cross-eyed, and the fiberglass edges can show a ripple when light catches them. Proof hides in the panel seam where the nose meets the fenders. Run your eye along that line and you often see a wave. Why does this matter? Because speed starts at the face. The real car's nose looks tight and intentional, like a helmet. A messy nose reads like a mask. Tribute builders who obsess over the front end, the mesh, the brackets, the lamp depth, earn trust before the engine even starts. When the nose is right, the car looks like it can cut air. When it is wrong, you feel wind resistance even in a photo. 17. Hood of many stories. The long fiberglass hood is the temple of the legend, and it tells stories when you listen. Scoop shapes vary. Underside bracing changes from car to car. The reveal is that a lot of tributes use a scoop that is a little too tall or too long because it looks faster. In motion, that can be fine, but parked, the proportion is off. Proof sits under the hood. You can feel where the bracing was bonded and see where a body shop sanded through gel coat to chase a smooth finish. Why it matters is simple. The hood controls how you experience the car. Too heavy and it feels clumsy to lift. Too light and it flutters at speed. The best tributes balance strength with weight, and they pick a scoop height that lines up with the windshield base, not with wishful thinking. When the hood is right, you do not think about it. When it is wrong, you think about nothing else. 16. The emblem trap. Badges sell stories, and stories can trap you. Many tributes lean on Cobra emblems and GT500 scripts to force belief. The reveal is that the font weight, the angle of the snake, and the placement on the fender can betray a clone faster than any dyno sheet. Proof is literal. Compare an original emblems letter spacing to a repro. On the real spec, the gaps breathe. On many repros, the letters crowd each other. Why does this matter? Because a tribute should not rely on badges to prove itself. If you need a snake to convince a stranger, the build is not doing the talking. Honest cars use emblems like punctuation, not propaganda. You recognize confidence when you see it. The panel gaps are even, the stance is right, the motor sounds angry but clean, and the emblems simply confirm what your senses already decided. That is the trap and the escape. Let the metal speak first and the badge becomes decor, not defense. 15. Big block versus bigger block. Here is where tributes grow teeth. People love to argue about the original side oiler lore, but most tribute owners still have to live with the car. The reveal is that many tributes choose engines for a mix of drama and reliability. A stout 428, a stroked FE, a crate 460, or even a modern swap that starts in any weather. Proof shows up in cam cards, head casting numbers, and the way the car idles at a light. Some tributes will lope like they are chewing nails. Others settle into a smooth hum to keep peace in traffic. Why it matters is not just speed, it is purpose. If the build promises super snake, the power should feel rude in the best way, but it must deliver it without boiling over on a summer drive. The sweet spot is a motor that will pull hard, stop clean, and start cold. A tribute earns respect when the spec sheet is exciting and honest. Lies in the engine bay always come out on the road. Muga 14, the gear that fakes speed. Ratios shape reality. Many tributes pick short rear gears and a close ratio box to make the car feel fast at any throttle. The reveal is that this can be thrilling for 5 blocks and terrible for 5 hours. Proof is felt at cruise. The engine sits high in the revs, the cabin booms, and the fuel gauge moves like a stopwatch. Some builders get clever with overdrive to have both snap and sanity. Why this matters is bigger than comfort. Gearing declares what kind of life the car will live. If the car is built for photos and short bursts, short gears sell the image. If it is built for real distance, you want ratios that let the car stretch its legs without shouting. The honest tribute calls its shot. It either says, I am a brawler, deal with it, or it says, I am fast and I can travel. Hiding the choice is how you disappoint owners and buyers. Yakubima 13, the brake confession. The original look is sacred, but everyone wants modern stopping. The reveal is that most serious tributes upgrade to better discs and then hide them behind vintage-style wheels. Proof is behind the spokes. You will spot a caliper that did not exist in 1967 and a rotor that fills the barrel a little too perfectly. Why it matters is safety first, always. Power is fun until traffic gets dumb. Brakes let you keep the legend alive without turning every drive into a risk. The best builders do not apologize for this. They treat stopping like an invisible promise. You are not trying to pass a museum inspection. You are trying to keep a heavy, fast, short wheelbase car alive in modern streets. If the car looks period correct but stops like a modern machine, that is not cheating. That is stewardship. A good tribute honors the spirit by keeping people in one piece. 12. Tires that time, travel. Rubber is the handshake between dream and road. Many tributes chase a period look with bias ply style or classic tread, and some even hunt rare sizes to nail the stance. The reveal is that the most correct tire can also be the least forgiving, especially in rain or cold. Proof is the first wet roundabout where the tail gets light without much warning. Others choose modern radials with a vintage sidewall print, gaining grip and losing the old-school slide. Why this matters is that tires rewrite the car. A tribute on fresh radials will stop shorter, track straighter, and talk clearer at the limit. A tribute on period-correct rubber will look perfect in photos and feel alive, even spooky at speed. There is no wrong answer if you tell the truth. If the car is a driver, choose safety. If it is a photo hero and weekend cruise piece, choose the look and respect the limits. The tire choice is a philosophy statement you make with your wallet. Me 11. The Bodyman's Secret. Ask an old bodyman how to spot a tribute, and they will not look at the dash first. They will watch the doors. The reveal is that door weight, hinge feel, and the way the latch bites tell a deep story. Proof is in the movement. A real, well-sorted car shuts with a low thunk, and the gap line stays even as the door crosses the striker. A rough tribute will lift a little as you close it, or the leading edge will kiss the fender when the chassis twists. Fiberglass waves and seam shadows also talk when sunlight moves across a quarter panel. Why this matters is not about shaming a builder, it is about truth in touch. If the shell is straight, the car will be calmer at speed, quieter on rough streets. and easier to live with for years. If the shell is crooked, every drive will add a new rattle, and every fix will chase another. The best tributes are built by hands that care about the line more than the logo. That is the handshake check that never lies. Dot 10. Paperwork makes horsepower. On tribute cars, paper is power. A strong parts list, clear receipts, and a known shop's letter can add more value than another 25 horsepower on a dyno sheet. The reveal is simple. People do not just buy a machine, they buy a story they can trust. The proof lives in the way auction descriptions read when a tribute sells well. They lead with build sheets, cam cards, carb model numbers, head casting dates, rear axle ratio, gear vendor, or overdrive notes, and a work order signed by the builder. That folder is a shield against doubt. It tells a buyer this car is not a jumble of shiny parts that just happened to work on the day of filming or photos. It is a system that can be understood, serviced, and enjoyed. Why this matters is the long game. Tributes age well when their story is organized. The owner after you will thank you, and that thanks shows up in the price they are willing to pay. Number 9, the lawsuit era. Words and shapes can be owned, and many builders learned that the hard way. The reveal is that licensing fights around famous Shelby lookalikes pushed a shift in language and design choices. People stopped calling their cars replicas and started calling them tributes, and they often made small styling changes to stay safe. Different bumper brackets, a unique hood line, a custom badge that nods to the legend without copying it. The proof is in old forum threads and shop statements from the years when cease and desist letters made the rounds. Builders who wanted peace kept the soul, but swapped a few surface parts. Why it matters is not just legal, it changed what fans expect. Many now accept that a tribute can be honest about inspiration without pretending to be a factory car. That honesty feeds trust. It lets the conversation be about craft, not permission slips. 8. Museum-grade tributes. Most tributes live in garages and at cars and coffee meets. A few earn a place on a museum floor. The reveal is that museum placement is not about being louder or shinier. It is about how carefully a builder chased the period details. Correct fasteners, correct hose clamps, correct seat grain, even the right shade of underhood black. Proof shows up in placards that list part numbers and in small, quiet choices like a period-correct distributor cap or a battery topper that looks like old hard rubber. Why this matters is legacy. A museum-grade tribute teaches a visitor how the legend could have looked and felt. It also sets a standard for the community. When one car raises the bar, others try harder. That is good for everyone who loves these machines because it moves the culture from cosplay to craftsmanship. 7. Auction roller coaster. Two tributes can look almost the same and sell for wildly different money a week apart. The reveal is that timing and venue amplify emotion. A televised sale on a Saturday night with two bidders who both grew up with the same poster can push a price far beyond a quiet Wednesday online close. Proof is in hammer prices that spike when a high-energy audience watches the car fire up and thump the room. The same spec might sit flat on a slow site during holidays. Why this matters is that it separates value from moment. Sellers should plan for the right crowd and the right season. Buyers should look past the noise and ask, what will this car be worth to me after the lights go dark? If you remember that, the roller coaster is less scary. You ride with your eyes open. 6. The pop culture collision. Today, fame does not arrive only from films or TV. It comes from search bars, thumbnails, and game garages. The reveal is that Super Snake is more than a badge. It is a keyword that multiplies attention across YouTube, TikTok, and driving games. When a streamer or a creator features a strong tribute, that clip becomes a new chapter of the car's story. Proof is in traffic spikes after a good video post or a shared short about a wild cam idle or a clean third gear pull. The car becomes a character in a new medium. Why this matters is the health of the niche. Pop culture can move the next young builder to try a tribute with care. It can also flood the market with rushed builds that look right in photos but feel wrong on the road. The answer is the same as always. Be honest. If a build is for cameras, say so. If a build is for miles, prove it with the details. Number 5. The sound that sells it. Long before Odover's and gear judges truth, the reveal is that exhaust pipe gives away cam choice, header design, and how the engine breathes. A tribute that idles like a blender full of gravel might feel heroic in a parking lot and miserable at every red light. Another that idles smooth but roars wide open can be the better real-world car. Proof is the simple test of conversation. If you can talk at idle without shouting, the cam profile and timing are livable. If you must lean in and nod instead of speak, the car is telling you it wants to be a weekend toy, not a commuter. Why this matters is identity. A tribute should make a sound that fits its purpose. You can choose lope or hum. Choose it on purpose. The right note wins hearts and keeps peace with neighbors. And that is how a legend stays welcome on real streets. 4. The weight nobody mentions. Pretty parts are heavy. Large aluminum radiators, dual electric fans, added insulation, power accessories, bigger brakes, and stronger wheels pile on pounds. The reveal is that a tribute can end up far heavier than the car it copies, which changes how it turns, stops, and rides. Proof is the scale ticket. Put the car on a pad and watch the number climb past what you expected. Then look at cross weights and see how added sound, deadening, and extras moved balance. Why this matters is feel. Weight shifts the car's mood. A heavier car can be calmer on the highway but lazier in a quick lane change. A lighter one can dance but drone. The best builds make weight work for them. They trim where it helps, unsprung mass, for example, and add where it comforts, thermal control, and brakes. This is not a diet to suffer through. It is a budget to spend with care. 3. The myth of perfect. Perfection is a trap. The reveal is that the original driving experience was not flawless. It was raw, loud, and sometimes scary. The best tributes do not chase a museum fantasy. They choose a clear goal and are honest about it. Proof shows up in owner interviews where they admit what is modern and what is old school. Yes, this has a safer master cylinder. No, it does not have a computer. Why this matters is sanity. If you demand a car that never squeaks, never fumes, never needs a warm-up, you do not want a tribute. You want a new sports car. Tributes that win hearts admit their edges. They invite you into the ritual, the switch on, the little pump of throttle, the first come-to-life cough. That ritual is the soul you were chasing when you said the name Super Snake. The owner's test. The fastest way to separate a real enthusiast's tribute from a flip is to ask 3 simple questions. Who built the engine? Which ratios are in it? What is the first mod you would undo? The reveal is that honest owners answer fast and with detail. They know the builder's name, the cam grind, the headwork, the rear gear, and the reason for that choice. They also know what they would change if budget allowed. Maybe smaller primary tubes for better torque, maybe a different clutch to save their left leg in traffic. Proof is the tone of their answer. It is calm and specific, not foggy and defensive. Why this matters is stewardship. These cars survive because owners care enough to learn. When an owner treats the car like a living project rather than a statue, the tribute stays safe, fast, and valuable. It keeps teaching the next person who takes the keys. MIFA 1. The thesis, tribute versus truth. In the end, a Super Snake tribute is not judged by how perfectly it copies a badge. It is judged by whether it captures the purpose that made the badge worth saying. The reveal is that the most admired tributes do 2 things at once. They tell the truth about what they are, and they deliver the feeling the legend promised. Rude speed in a body you can live with. Proof is the smile at 3,000 RPM when the engine clears its throat and the car pulls hard without drama. Proof is the calm hand on the wheel during a panic stop because the brakes are modern, even if the wheels pretend to be old. Proof is the folder of papers that speaks as clearly as the pipes. Why this matters is the difference between costume and character. A costume looks right until you ask it to move. A character moves you. The tribute that honors the spirit, the why, will always outlast the one that only copies the what. That is the truth at the heart of this story. The legend began with a one-off built to prove a point about speed and control. The tributes that last are the ones that keep proving it, one honest mile at a time. A tribute car is a promise you make to yourself and to anyone who sees the badge. The promise is not, I own history. The promise is, I keep history alive. When you choose parts with purpose, document your work, and drive with care, you are not chasing a shadow. You are adding your own chapter to a living myth. That is the real reason these cars matter. The legend stays loud because people choose to keep it loud, clearly, safely, and with pride.